We're a well-oiled machine. All right, welcome everyone to our high school community forum. We have some excellent schools here who will present. We're just going to pause while we get the flag out so we can all pledge. So again, just pause please. We don't have a flag? Oh, is it? The state one's there.
Back then, let's tuck it back there.
Why would there be a flag in a school?
It's always there.
All right, well, we're going to stand and say pledge and pretend. Did you find it? Excellent.
Oh, so excited.
Is it behind the scaffolding?
It was not in an obvious place.
All right, here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for those online tuning in. I'm just going to give a brief overview of how we've come to tonight and our history in town, and then Deanna is going to provide a short presentation. So more than 10 years ago, we got to a place where we needed to make sure that we had what they call seats for all of our high school students. We needed guarantees that every student had a place to go in high school. And at the time, Dover High did not have the capacity to take all of us. So we explored other schools. We had a variety of schools come and present. And then through a process where the public gave input, it was narrowed down that we would pursue contracts with Dover and Oyster River, and we did. And so we've had great relationships with both of those districts in the last 10 years. We have always had a memo of understanding with Co-Brown and have a great relationship with that school as well. And so tonight, they're going to talk about what their schools have to offer. Tonight is not to help families choose a high school. Okay, there's a very definitive process for that for 8th graders. But tonight is for the community to look at our unique process for high school in that our students have choice. We as a district, as the board, take no position on students. That it's completely up to them where they want to go. Okay, but the community has a choice of whether or not they'll support the contracts. So the process will be, we'll get input from folks here online. There'll be an opportunity for folks who will watch the video later for a short window to be able to give input. We'll be talking about it at our next board meeting, so folks can come and participate in public comment to provide input there as well. Deanna will explain the process for the notes in the back to gather input. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for the community to provide input to guide the board in how we go forward. Again, tonight, there's been some misconceptions and some rumors running amok in the community, and I want to dispel all of them. There's no secret intent to do away with anything that we have. Because the contracts are coming up, we have to, again, gather public input. Okay, and so that's the purpose of tonight. And again, there's going to be opportunities for public to submit their input. The one takeaway I want everyone to remember is that we need to make sure that we have a place for all of our students to go. It wasn't that long ago, there was a community nearby that did not have a place for all their students to go, and it's an uncomfortable position when you're going begging to have a student to travel to a high school that's far away, and we don't want to be in that. And the clear takeaway from our last exploration was the community wanted choice. It is something that drives people to come to Barrington. But we just need to do a check-in with the community to make sure that's still what people want, okay? So all that, if you could take it away, Superintendent Ray. Oh, I apologize. So because we're going to be sending out that survey, if you're here tonight, if you could leave us your email address if you want to be able to participate in that survey. That's the only way we'll be able to get it to you. And again, if for some reason you decide not to tonight, but you want to, you can reach out to the superintendent and send your email. Again, we don't have an exact date of when we're sending out that survey. Next week? Okay. So we just need the information, okay? And if you have friends that aren't able to be here tonight, encourage them to watch the video. And then within a short period of time, they'll also be able to participate in the survey. But months from now, that won't happen, okay? And the process is there's committees formed to negotiate contracts, and any contract will go before the voters in March, okay? All right, thank you.
Oh, yeah. It's, I don't know if, is the mic working? Because it's hard to hear from the side.
You can in this space.
Let's go Bruins.
The folks online, just keep bearing with us 1 minute. I know you see our Deanna's mouth moving, but no sound. But hold on, just technical difficulties.
I get to, hey, there it is. Hi, everyone. All right, so first of all, I'm going to have them introduce themselves when they come up because there's a lot of them. So it's probably better for you to be able to connect them with the school that they're representing. But I want to thank them for coming. This is an incredibly hectic, busy time of year. I'm sure you've been out in the evenings as much as the rest of us have. So thank you for your time. Moira already said most of this. I'm not going to repeat the middle paragraph. And our purpose for this evening is to gather feedback from all of you regarding our options for high school education and transportation in order to mindfully negotiate the tuition agreements and memorandums in front of us. So our agenda for this evening, we will start with a quick review of the high school information that I shared as part of the budget process, just to set the stage for everybody tonight in case you're not aware of that information. And then each of the high school groups will come up and do their presentations. We'll have an opportunity for questions, and then 2 different opportunities this evening for feedback. So for those of you who are like, yep, I know exactly how I feel about this, I don't have much to say, stickers and Post-it charts, old school style in the back. So the right-hand side is which high schools you want us to continue to negotiate and be in contact with. There's sticky dots on the table. Just put your answer up. This side is transportation. On the table, also back there, are the same 2 questions, but a comment section on a form if you want to sit and add a comment to that. So that's pretty simple. If you want to also receive the survey so that you can have your name and everything recorded, make sure I have your info on that form over there. So that's the agenda for tonight. So quick review, like I said, if you draw your attention to the high school tuition line about midway down the page, this is now no longer a 24-25 proposed because you all approved the vote that, in your vote that went forward. So we now have just under $8 million for our high school tuition for proposed for, not opposed, approved for next year. My apologies. High school enrollment history, you can see 2023, we're at 455, and there's our trend there. And currently, this is our high school tuition by building. So 24-25, Dover is estimated because of how their city tax system runs. We don't get their numbers until usually about October. So we just estimate a percentage higher based on how those trends have been going, and we already have the confirmed rate from both Oyster River and Co-Brown. So as a reminder, we know this, we're not obligated to provide transportation to high school students, but Barrington has had a variety of combinations of that in the past. So we want to make sure we hear from people about that tonight as well. We currently provide transportation to all 3 of our receiving high schools. Due to fluctuation with sports schedules and things, the number of buses at each high school tends to vary, and we make those adjustments throughout the year. Right now, there's 1 going to each of them, utilizing cluster stops throughout the town. And the rate for 24-25 is $76,380 per bus for the school year. Here's our projected high school enrollment by building for next year. And this PowerPoint was first done back in like October, so now we know where kiddos are going for to high school, so those numbers would be slightly different, but they're fairly close. And now we're going to jump right into our high school presentations. You're welcome. Not sure why I'm babbling over that slide, yeah, you can do that.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen Lasky, the assistant headmaster over at Co-Brown, and Headmaster David Smith is passing out some reading materials right now, so he'll be up here to join me in a minute. Thank you, Barrington, for inviting us here tonight. We're happy to be here. Please stop us any time if you have questions. Otherwise, I know all of the high schools will be trying to run through their entire high school program very quickly in 15 minutes, so we'll be talking fast, covering a lot of material. So quick little agenda. You'll see some of this in your folders as well. There should be a lot of information. Very speedily, we'll be covering all of those topics. And we will begin with accreditation and status. So Co-Brown is unique. There are only 2 schools like Co-Brown, or like us in the state of New Hampshire, Co-Brown and Pinkerton Academy. We're both public academies, which is a very special definition only to those 2 institutions. It means we're a little bit private and a little bit public, and a lot of gray areas in different places, but largely when it comes to student assessment, state standards, state testing, we largely fall under the public umbrella. We are accredited by NEASC, as are our other high schools.
A little bit on the student profile, and thank you, by the way, for joining us tonight on such a beautiful night. We appreciate the opportunity to be invited by Barrington. Current enrollment, 660, usually goes from 650 to 700. And as most of you probably know, we're Division II as far as the athletic scheduling, which is a mid-sized school. Of our regular population, 576, 504 in special ed, including in our students' assistance for meals is a little bit over 5%. With a breakdown of the individual classes and school size comparisons. This is just to give you a view of several schools in the nearby area, and you'll see where the population stands between the 3 schools that are here this evening and some of the other schools in the state. Faculty and staff, our departments, teacher ratio 1 to 11. Our class size is, in our average classes, 18, and we have some classes, as you see later on, of approximately 6 in it. Faculty must either hold a minimum of a master's or are required to be continuing their education.
So quickly, you can see about 66 teaching faculty at Co-Brown, and then a bunch of our other positions there with 3 school administrators, special education, technology director, reading specialist, all of those different positions. For our campus, we have 4 main classroom buildings. As old as 1867. It's something that makes us pretty unique in the area. We really love going from very historic buildings on campus to the very modern. We have playing fields, weight room, agricultural barn, a pretty strong vocational center. Campus highlights, we're currently under construction for Wigan Hall. We're in the last phase of that building, which will open up 4 new classrooms on the 2nd story, and those classrooms will be open for fall of this coming year, so we're very excited about that. For academic programming, we have classes at multiple levels from skills, general, college prep, honors to advanced placement. We really encourage mobility between those classes. We want classes placed where, we want students placed in the classes where they're going to be successful. We want them all to be challenged and interested, but never overplaced so that it's a struggle. So we work really hard to have good placement in those classes, core classes and electives in all those departments. Small classroom sizes is really a key goal of our Board of Trustees. They really honor that. They support that in a lot of different ways, and it does help us make a really nice, close-knit community. It's something that's important to all of us going to school there, working there, and volunteering there as a board. New classes for next year, we're offering Intro to Comp, which is a SNU credit class. AP Stats, AP Environmental Science, and AP Psychology will be 3 new AP offerings, and a new Criminality through History if you're interested in crime in the United States throughout history.
And some of our future new freshman class, Futures class, has been a great addition for us this year. One of the advantages of this class for freshmen is it gives the opportunity for guest speakers, and we've had numerous guest speakers, and a lot of the guest speakers actually are parents of our freshmen, so it ties the community together even more so. And some of the things that Future does with the interest inventory individual students, going on to a very important part of the transition from middle school to high school is organization, as one can imagine. So studying organizational skills is a very important part of it. Academic offerings, virtual reality in a variety of our classrooms. A lot in mechanics, welding, world history, and science have taken advantage of the virtual reality, which has been a great opportunity for kids to have a little variety in their learning. Specialty offerings, 13 advanced placement classes ranging from AP Calculus to AP Statistics.
Our teachers have really embraced concurrent enrollment classes, so we now have 75 credits offered through SNU in the high school program. So these are high school classes students are taking at Coe-Brown, during which they also earn college credit. So 75 credits through SNU and 13 credits through the early college program run by the New Hampshire Community College system. So altogether, 88 college credits are available at Coe-Brown. Our students have really been taking advantage of that. Our parents are pretty excited about that. We have several students leaving Coe-Brown with a semester or a year of college credits behind them, which maybe lets them move further ahead in their college experience quicker, sometimes achieving a master's degree within 4 years of college, sometimes just having cool things like your car on campus when you're a freshman because now you're actually a sophomore. So lots of different benefits to that. Our students really do look for those classes that offer concurrent enrollment. And then on the other side, we have a lot of career tech ed courses. We're not a regional vocational center as some of our other high schools are that you have as a choice.
It's weird though, because I can see it.
Maybe it'll come back. I'll keep talking. A lot of vocational courses, although we're not a regional center. We do have wood shop and mechanics and kitchen and agricultural barn. So a lot of vocational offerings at Coe-Brown that, in addition to the slide you can't see, offer a lot of certifications, which is the next slide. So a lot of certifications available in those classes. So our students take advantage. A lot of these are basic entry-level employment certifications, which give them a step up on their peers who may not have taken advantage of these classes and certs. Career Ed and Endeavors in Excellence are also 2 other programs we have.
Which leads us to graduation requirements, and on the other part of talking about taking advantage of the credit situations, as Karen was mentioning, is, just imagine as a parent, it's a great opportunity to have your son or daughter be able to transfer into a new school with a year and a half or 2 years of credits. But that's not for all students, because our graduation situation usually is approximately 80% of our students go on to either a 2 or 4 year school. That means 20%. It's very important for them to have the programs necessary in the vocational area in the type of job market area, the career readiness. So what's our graduation requirements? 23 credits of that, which is part of the portfolio. One of the credits is the portfolio, and that is a graduation credit. And that major component of that is 40 hours of community service. And we have a minimum reading level in order to graduate, and that's approximately grade 11. So all students need to have that level in order to graduate, and it's up to us to support those students and to get them to that particular level before graduation. And obviously the civics naturalization exam that everyone is very excited about this year. Assessments, as you can see, state average, and where Co-Brown lies on the graduation rate of the class of 23. AP examination results of the students taken, score of 3 and higher, 91%. In May, obviously, you can see the students that took the AP exams that did quite well.
Just additional assessment data. We're pleased with our reading and our math and our science state assessment scores compared to the state. Our teachers take that seriously, work with students on how to best prepare for those exams and make sure they're adhering to the state standards and covering those topics with our students. These surveys or these, I don't know what I want to use, assessments are not always based in the best science, but when they're positive, we're happy about it. So we're very excited that number 8, Co-Brown was the number 8th best high school in New Hampshire, but from the U.S. News and World Report, number 3 best New Hampshire teachers from Niche. So we'll throw that in there.
Some of the special programming, senior portfolio project and portfolio is a big component for us, and we start at the freshman year, and each year has something a little different, a little opportunity, but it does truly begin the freshman year. And for example, we have coming up shortly for our seniors the opportunity to present to the community in the portfolio, and this, we have approximately 150 community members. Actually, we've had a couple in this room that has participated in it. It's a great opportunity to meet our students as truly young people that are doing great, and we like to kind of show them off a little bit and understand that all the things that we see in the paper about young people is not. No, we don't get the best. We see the best on that particular night. It's a great opportunity for the community and for our kids to have a chance to show themselves off. Assisted study program, that's a transition that we talk about. Usually it's primarily for the freshman year, because the big transition from middle school to high school, whatever high school that they do attend, the transition of organization is a major skill that needs to be worked on. So this gives those students, rather than being in a traditional study hall, it gives them a chance to be in assisted study where they have somebody that can monitor specifically what they do, and it's usually a group of no more than 8 in that particular class. Project Success is a program for after-school activities, kind of a continued program of assisted study, and students have a chance to take advantage of that. Sometimes their parents like them to take advantage of that as well. They're encouraged by their parents to participate in that. Math lab. So every study hall, we have a math teacher that's available that serves as a math lab, because not all of our students have the opportunity to stay after school or come in early. Some of them are dictated by the schedules of their parents or the schedules of the buses. So they can come into study hall and take advantage of math help, and quite a few actually take advantage of that. So that's a great opportunity. Math is one of the more difficult classes in making the transition from middle school to high school, as we all know, and we all understand that math scores throughout the state and country are low, and we need to be correcting that. Student Writing Center we have. That Writing Center is run by our students. We have a person in charge of organizing them and going through training with them, but our students actually are in charge of the Writing Center. Internship for careers, Karen mentioned that a little earlier, has been a very positive program. We usually average about 15 to 18 students that participate in that program. One-on-one technology we've had for quite a few years, actually. Thank goodness we had it several years before COVID started, because it bailed us out and helped the students and the families immensely. So it's been a very viable program for us. Bridges is a program that we have. This program is developed by our faculty, and all members of our communities are involved in that, or have the opportunity to be involved in that. We have 5 schools that we deal with. A new school that was added this year is Deerfield. In all our schools, the transition, mostly the 8th grade, can be 7th or 8th grade teachers, work with our freshman teachers in the transition into high school. And that has been very productive, not only for us and for the 8th graders, 8th grade teachers, but those teachers have an opportunity to have a resource within their own curriculum. And that has been helpful because a lot of our schools are not large, so a lot of single teachers are involved, single subject teachers, and it's a great opportunity for them to use as a resource as well. Reading specialist services we have available, and once again, we need to have that available because we need to be sure that our students are able to reach approximately grade 11 level before graduation.
And I think we're running to the end, so we're going to scoot along. We've really focused on some of our student supports at Co-Brown in recent years. Our SEL program is fairly robust. We do not have any sort of set SEL curriculum, but we do have a committee that works on several tiers. And again, we really focus on making connections with our students and our parents and becoming a close, caring community in order to enhance the experience for all of us who are working there. We do have, I just flipped past it, but we do have services from Seacoast Mental Health as well as community partners coming in, working with our students as well, in addition to a 5-person counseling department with a fairly low caseload with that ratio between counselor and student body, so we really do focus on that individual student attention. Co-curricular life, we have lots of clubs and athletics. Our students do a lot of fun things, so we had groups just come back from Florida with a music competition, college career fairs, all sorts of fun things. Athletics, mostly Division II, we mentioned earlier. Excited about our fall and winter seasons and struggling to get through the rain with our spring seasons, as all our schools are. Tuition rates. So we do have 2 rates for Co-Brown. We have a regular ed tuition rate and a special education tuition rate, as Deanna showed earlier. We work really hard to keep that tuition rate low. It does run a little differently than other schools, but we're highly conscious of the fact that we're establishing that rate, and we try to stay very competitive. And you can see here on that chart just a sampling of schools where Co-Brown falls, where other schools in the state are spending on their students, and we try to stay right in line, right there close to the state average, and really get the most bang for our buck, enhancing how we're spending that money and investing in the people at Co-Brown.
So what's next? As you can see, we have our last phase of Wigan Hall, which is a multi-classroom building that will be finishing up actually before school starts next year. In that particular building, we have a new art area, and it houses our music area as well as general classrooms. Continue efforts for postgraduate planning. We have to keep working towards our coursework certifications. As Karen mentioned earlier, the variety of certifications that we have, we want to keep working in that direction of developing further certifications. Campus security and safety is very important. We have an SRO that is supported by Co-Brown. For the last several years, actually, we started in that program when the state offered a matching grant probably 20 years ago now, and we've maintained that. The Board of Trustees have maintained that, and that has been a great working operation. the SRO is not obviously just for school security. The SRO is for develop a relationship between our kids and the police, which, as we know these days, is a very important part of their job. Park attendant, we have surveillance. We have more cameras than you possibly can imagine, and assets control.
That was a
Yep.
So that was just a quick video. You can see that on our website. Students talking about their experiences at Co-Brown. Lots of good information there. This is our current year registering for the fall. So we've got our incoming freshman student and parent night coming up, which is always fun to have our students meet with their counselors and administration. They pick up their early version of their schedule at that point and really get excited about being there.
And thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thanks. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Driscoll. I have the pleasure of being the principal at Dover High School. I'm a 1982 graduate of the school, and as we talk about the school, a lot of our faculty are graduates of Dover High School or members of our Barrington and Nottingham communities who are connected to our school and come back to serve our communities. I have with me Corey Kennedy. She is our director of CTC. She's going to speak about our programs as well. As you know, we're a regional career technical center, but we also really like to pride ourselves on our academics as well. We are a large school. Our enrollment fluctuates between 1,350 students and 1,500 students. Our typical graduating classes are around 350 students. We currently have one small class. Our juniors are about 310 kids right now, and that is largely actually a reflection of a small cohort in Dover that year. So as we move forward with our presentation, our job at Dover High School is to prepare our students to walk out of our school with a variety of options available to them. We're going to spend 4 years working with them to provide them with as many career pathways as possible. When we look at our mission statement, our goal is really to give them the skills and dispositions as much as the content knowledge to be a successful adult. As we know, it is clearly impossible in 2024 to learn everything there is to learn. There is so much knowledge out there. But we have to be able to make sure that our students are prepared socially, civically, and academically to be contributing members of their adults, as an adult in their community. And we really, when you walk through our school, our mantra is respect and responsibility equals success at Dover High School. That's really our words that we use with our students and work with our faculty to provide them with a respectful and safe environment. You know, first and foremost, every school here, all three schools, we're academic institutions. And I think you as a community are in a really unique place where you have the opportunity to send students to three really excellent schools that all work together and cooperate with each other and know each other well. Our academic program is large. Again, one of the benefits of a large school is we can offer a lot of courses. We are a NEASC accredited school. Our accreditation visit was in 2018. We just had our 5-year review, so we have, that is behind us. So in the cycle, we will now start preparing for when they're going to come and see us in another 5 years, and they're all chuckling over there. It is an incredible amount of work, but what it does is it gives you a focus to make sure that you're providing a program that supports your students. We too have a rigorous program that provides students with multiple levels. We have an AP level, an honors level, a college prep level, and a foundational level. Again, we like to provide our students with mobility. If you've come to our 8th grade information night, we talk about when your students are coming to Dover High School to make sure they have a balance of classes. They don't want to have an academic program that is one that they're not going to be successful in, but we want them to be challenged. In talking about our AP program, in 2023, we took tests in 13 subject areas. Our students took 205 tests. Our average score on all those tests put together are 3.46. As you know, 3 is what you're looking for to get a credit. And this year, we're offering tests in 16 subject areas. Some of the parts of our academic program that we really like to emphasize include programs that really focus on our students having authentic learning opportunities. So, for example, in our biology program, their end of the year assessment is a project that they have to do that how something impacts their community. So a couple years ago, one of our students actually, her project was to analyze the garbage in our cafeteria. And because of that, we went away from a lot of paper products, a lot of plastic, styrofoam. So we're trying to provide these students with an opportunity to have real-life learning in their classrooms. We have 3 foreign languages. We provide French, Spanish, and Latin, and we have an incredibly robust Latin program. We compete in Latin cantamens, which are contests with Phillips Exeter, with a lot of private schools, and our Latin program is really thriving. We took the National Latin exam previously this month, and our students scored incredibly well on that. We're also really proud of our art program at our school. We have 4 full-time art teachers, a real commitment to that, and a lot of technology integration. As you know, our school is, well, it's 5 years old now, but it was, it's still the new school, right? And there's a lot of technology in all phases of the school. So, for example, in the art program, they're using technology for multimedia presentations, for stop-action animation, for all of those things. And we really think the art program is important to our students as we look at that as a tool for them in terms of their mental health and some SEL approaches. A couple other just like highlights of trying to give you a feel for things that go on in the classroom beyond just what we think of in terms of traditional instruction. We had students in a history class who were interested in podcasting, so they wrote and got a grant for podcasting equipment, and they actually presented at a state workshop on that. So that was really something that we were pretty proud of. We do belong to the New Hampshire Scholars Program, which is designed to encourage students to take a rigorous high school course of study. And generally, around 50% of our high school graduating seniors are New Hampshire scholars. There we go. Some statistics about our student body at Dover High School. Generally, about 3 out of 4 of our students go to a 2 or a 4-year school. Of that number, around 55 to 60% are 4-year, and the rest are generally 2-year schools. As we know, we have a pretty close relationship with the community college system in New Hampshire. They're really working hard to get themselves into everyone's high schools. And so our students can go to these, as Karen talked about, with credits. And the other piece of that is, with the cost of college, a lot of our students are looking at the 2+2 option, where if you go to a community college in New Hampshire for the first 2 years, you can then go to Plymouth, Keene, or UNH in Durham for the last 2 years. And it's really a great way for a student to transition into the expectations and coursework of college, while at the same time, saving some money and then being able to finish up and get their 4-year degree. Our SAT score, we have about 91% participation in the state assessment, and our average SAT score is 1088. We have a 99.8% graduation and completion rate. Our dropout rate is 0.2%. We have multiple pathways for our students to reach graduation, or like a high set, or some other program that allows them to be successful as they move on as an adult. We are a Division I school in most sports. We do, depending on the sport, some of the sports that are smaller have Division II. We do that in hockey. Our emphasis here is on participation, teamwork, and sportsmanship. We like winning too, okay? So like we're celebrating our field hockey championship that we won in the fall, and we all know we play to win, but at the same time, the lessons that we're really preaching are participation, teamwork, and sportsmanship. We were the 22-23 Division I sportsmanship winner, so we were proud of that. We do have a really large music and performing arts program. As you can see, one of the things that we do have, which is pretty unique and we can run because we're a large school, is our marching band program. In our music department itself, there are 15 music classes, everything from rock lab to history of jazz to more traditional things like keyboarding and guitar playing. Again, really a lot of high technology. We have a recording technology class, and these students really have the opportunity to take part in a lot of musical programs. We also have a theater program that Drama Club puts on multiple productions each school year. A lot of ways in which we offer support to our students at Dover High School. We have a faculty of 120 members. We have around 60 support staff that are overseen by an 8-member administrative team. One of the things that we do to try to help our students is we have an advisory program, and it runs into what is our flex block. Our flex block is 30 minutes in the middle of the day where students are scheduled each week to attend different classes where they either need support, or they want to work on a project with their classmates, or they're doing something to extend what they're learning, or they're involved in a club or activity. Our student services department, we are able to provide special ed services to a wide variety of students. We have students in our student services program who we're really proud that we're able to keep them in a building in their home community. And so that is a really important service that we provide. We are based on an inclusion model, so we want our students to be in class with their peers, but we do run for students who do have a larger gap. We run sections in reading, language arts, math, and organizational studies for those students. Our unified program is really one of the prides of our school. We were one of the first schools to start this in the state, and we're recognized by ESPN and Special Olympics and a lot of other organizations as a school for its inclusion model. And we carry that into the culture of our school. It's interesting, it started in our athletic program, but it really has moved into our school as well. So we offer unified classes, art, science, theater, wellness, where students are with their peers. And the people who benefit the most from this program is actually the students who serve as mentors. That learning that they do, that empathy that they learn, that compassion that they learn, that just becomes part of who they are, and it trickles out into our whole school. If you are looking for an event that will lift your spirits, go to a Unified game. We have a Unified school sports program. We run soccer in the fall, basketball in the winter, volleyball in the spring, and we do participate in the Special Olympics as well. And a lot of these Unified programs that we run include members of community schools. So for example, when we had our Unified Prom a few weeks ago, it included students from schools throughout the area. And so that is a community that's really tight-knit and has come together to help one another. A huge emphasis at our school and at every other school is our students' mental health. And so our students recognize that we need to work in this area. And they came forward, and we have a Student Mental Health Initiative Club. And they work with groups like NAMI, community partners, to work with the city's mental health task force as well. And so that student group has brought in Connect training into our school, where students are taught to be mentors for their peers. And it's really about recognition and eliminating the stigma around mental health. It's a See Something, Say Something program. We also run teen mental health first aid for our students in all our health classes. And it's really strongly messaged in our school to support our students. This year, at the end of our first semester in January, we had a reset day. And what that was is the students went to their advisors and said, listen, at the end of the first semester, when we're transitioning to the second semester, it's a really busy, stressful time. What do you think if we have this mental reset day? And what they ended up doing is working with community partners. They brought in 60 people from the outside, from the community, who came in and did activities with our students. From Zen gardening to playing Uno with the principal, right? There was just a whole amount of activities that took place for the faculty, staff, and students that day, and it really was an incredible day. So that, a lot of kudos to our students for putting that forward. And we're always looking to ways to provide them a voice moving forward. And one of the places where they do a lot of that is in our clubs. In many of our clubs, traditional clubs that you would think of, right? Community service clubs, student government clubs, clubs that have an academic focus, but then personal interests. If you want to start a club at Dover High School, you get yourself an advisor, you write yourself a viable program, you share it with us, it will be approved. If you want to work on your disc golf game, we are the home of a disc golf course. You can come and join our disc golf club. This is really, again, where our student voice shows the most. So a club that's about 3 years old right now is our Women Empowerment Club. And on Wednesday, they're going to be hosting a symposium in our library where people will come in and talk about women in government and women in business. So these are really an opportunity for our students to develop those skills that they need to be successful beyond just learning knowledge. Again, really, if you were to look at our over 100-page course of studies, we have a wide array of classes. Ms. Kennedy is going to talk about our CTC Center, but we also are a very strong academic school. And if you take a look at what we have to offer, it's really an incredible amount of classes. You can take forensic science, you can take history of terrorism, you can take creative writing. There is something for everyone here. at our school, and we're really proud of that. And again, as a big school, we have that opportunity. And if you look at the mural here, that was created by an artist in residence and our students. And what they did is they worked with him, and those are 3 large individual murals that when you come in our school, that's what you see. And that was just kind of an example of how the community comes in and supports our schools and our students. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Kennedy. I will wrap it up a little bit at the end. She's going to talk about our Career Technical Center and the opportunities we have there.
Hi, I'm Corey Kennedy, and I'm the Director of Career and Technical Education. And thank you for having us here tonight. I'm happy to tell you all about our programming. We have 19 CTE programs that we offer. This is a listing. I'm not going to go through each one. I'm just going to highlight a few. Many of you are probably already familiar with our animal science program. We have a barn that houses a variety of animals. We also have a pet room and a reptile room within the classroom. Both of our instructors are FFA advisors, and our students are very involved with that organization. At the FFA convention, they are the students to beat. It's a very well-known group of students, and they have a lot of knowledge about animal science. We also have automotive collision and automotive technology. Our automotive collision program was just given the designation of a Spinizzi 360 concept shop this year, and we are the only one with that designation in the U.S., and there's a certification that accompanies that designation, so we're very proud of that. We have biomedical science that has industry, top-notch equipment, virtual reality systems are used. They do dissections. It's a wonderful program. It's a Project Lead the Way program. We have building construction technology, where we partner with the community, business program, computer programming and networking. Our cosmetology program is one of only 2 in the state that's a 1,500-hour program, and what that means is that students can become fully licensed cosmetologists through our program with no need to continue on to post-secondary. And like I said, it's only one of 2 programs in the state that offer that. We have a wonderful culinary arts program that's well-known in the community as well. We offer early Montessori education, where students actually go to Little Tree 3 times a week, and they work with the children there to get some real-world experience. We offer electrical technology, which is really hot industry right now. Our EMT program is for students who can become EMTs right in high school. They can go right out into the workforce once they earn their basic EMT. Our fire science program is brand new this year. It's a program where students will actually go to the firehouse for classes. So they'll be right in a real-world environment where they learn. Our health science program is one of only a few in the state where students can earn their LNA license in 1 year. Most other programs, you have to take 2 years of the course to get your LNA license. And again, you know, right from graduating from high school, they can go and right into hospitals and work in the industry. And we provide them with our partners who hire them. They actually come to us. They ask, who can we get for these roles? So they're dying to get our students into their facilities. We offer NJROTC. We actually, the commander brought helicopters right onto our football field that landed there, and students got to go onto these helicopters, and they were given a tour of everything that these machines can do. We have a wonderful pre-engineering program. Sports medicine is very popular. We've actually doubled the number of seats that we offer this year. And welding technology, I was in the lab today. Many of you have probably seen the sculpture installation in Barrington. There was a birdhouse one year and a tree. You're nodding. I see that you've seen it. They're starting the next sculpture now. I probably shouldn't let the cat out of the bag, but it's going to be a honeybee sculpture, and it has quite large wings where all the students' names are actually engraved in the metal. So you can look for that installation over the next couple of months in Barrington. Dual enrollment. Most of our programs offer early college credits. Students love that because it saves them time in college, as well as parents like it because it saves a lot of money. So most of our programs do offer dual enrollment, and these are some of the partners that offer those credits to our students. We offer many more industry-recognized credentials than is listed here. This is just a partial listing. As I mentioned, the LNA license, the Spinizzi 3 concept, OSHA 10, Cisco, cosmetology, Serve Safe Manager is really needed in the culinary industry. So students certainly will have an advantage if they go into a culinary program with that certification. Basic EMT I'd mentioned. SolidWorks for engineering is a huge accomplishment for students. And we also offer animal CPR and first aid certification through Animal Science. And like I said, this is just a partial list. And now I will turn it back over to Mr. Driscoll, who will talk about Portrait of a Learner.
Our philosophy at our school is to integrate our CTE and our academic programs. So when our new building was built, the design was to put those programs throughout the building. So if you walk through our building, our CTE classes are not all clustered in one area, but rather they're spread out throughout the building. And they all have glass so that the students can look in and see what is going on in those classes. And we have students who, are taking AP Calc BC, which is at the high school level, the highest AP class you can take, and they're in our engineering program. They're taking AP Biology, they're in our biotech programs. So our students, when they go to college, their lab skills are very, very strong. One of the joys of being a principal that has a CTE program is that you can get a phone call from the night janitor going, "The goat is in labor, what should I do?" I said, "You might want to call someone else." That was, one of the more interesting things that happened. But, that building is pretty incredible, and that is an incredible program, just so you know. And like many others of these, I know from my own personal experience with my own children, one of them in the EMT program, what spurred them to be a search and rescue medic in the Navy. My daughter was in the biomedical program, much more academic focus, along with AP Biology, all of that kind of thing. She works at Children's Hospital. So really a strength of our school is the many pathways that we can provide students. What we're seeking to do in our Portrait of a Learner, and it's a little difficult for you to see, but this is a district-wide commitment. And this was developed with members of our community, with our teaching staff, with our students, with our business leaders. And they really said that what students need to be able to do is ward off flies while speaking, critical thinking, right? Collaboration, communication skills, life skills. And I left character for last. It was interesting, when we were putting this together, and when we visioned for our building, the business community is, you teach them how to solve problems and collaborate, we'll teach them what they need to know to work for us. So clearly collaboration, communication, critical thinking, those things are going to be a part of every single school's Portrait of a Learner. The life skills, as we talked about, without the proper dispositions, is difficult for our students when they graduate to be successful as adults. And then the character piece, we all know how important that is. That one came from our students. When they looked at the initial Portrait of a Learner, they said the thing that's lacking is something more definitive around character. And they were the ones who came up with that piece to add to our Portrait of a Learner. So those are the things that we're hoping our students will be able to do when they leave Dover High School. So thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Noe. I'm the principal of Oyster River High School, and we want to thank you very much for the opportunity for being here. It's a pleasure coming in and letting you know all about our school, and I'm a very proud principal, and I'm going to introduce my team. So over here, we have our Director of Counseling, Shannon Karen, a Barrington resident. We have our coordinator for ELOs, and that is Sean Peschel. We have one of our assistant principals, Mike McCann, and if your student had him, he would be L through Z. Our athletic director, Andrew Lathrop. Our director of student services, Nancy Michaud. And our next assistant principal, and Kristen Perrin. And if your student had her, she is A through K. So this is our team. A couple things about the high school. We have about 200 kids in our graduating class on average. I think this year it's 210. Next year, our junior class is actually one of the biggest classes we've had with 225. So on average, it's around 200 students. One of the things that is very important to us in our decision making is our vision of a graduate. So that actually started in about 2018. We had a group of teachers that went to a workshop and started working. That was middle school teachers and high school teachers and some of the administrators in the district, including like Todd Allen, who is no longer with our district. He retired a couple years ago. And so that grew over the years. They took the mission statement. They really took a year to decompose that, look at that, analyze it, make sure it was something that we really wanted to live by, and came up with this vision of a graduate. So this is like our portrait of a graduate. And so these are the skills that we really want students to leave us with when they're graduating. And so looking at that awareness of self, awareness of others, and transferable skills and knowledge, this is what we incorporate into every single class that we have. And so you might see it differently. It might look like the 21st century learning expectations, but all of those relate back to our vision of a graduate. We put the mission on here because I've only been in one school. I've worked in 5 high schools in my career in education, where we live by our mission statement. And so one of the things I always do at the beginning of the year when we have class meetings for the students, or we have parent meetings for like our Barrington night, or 8th grade night, or if we have our intro to high school night in August for incoming 9th grade parents, we always read the statement to them. So I'm actually gonna do that for you this evening because we take it very seriously, and this is something we actually look at when we're making decisions for the school. So it is really important to us that you know what that is. So our mission for Oyster River High School is to promote a safe and nurturing community where the uniqueness of each member is valued. In this spirit, we are committed to becoming educated, ethical, responsible citizens who strive to contribute positively toward the betterment of ourselves, our school, our society, and our world. And I can say teachers truly believe in that also. They do things in their classrooms that help students achieve this. We know that not every student is going to leave high school with mastering every single skill, but our job is to get them as close as possible so that they are ready for whatever they're doing after high school. That could be a job, that could be the military, that could be a 2 or 4 year school. All of our students are ready with those skills to do whatever it is their goal is for after high school.
All right, so I am excited about these slides that I present because you'll hear about our academics and the classroom experience, but truly one of the things I think is unique that we try to do is what we call Bobcat of the Week. And this is recognition for students and or for staff. And we really just celebrate opportunities to look at not what they're just doing inside of classrooms, but what they're doing outside. How are they contributing to our community? What nice deed did they do for others? And these are just some models of what we've seen. But sometimes there's a group of students working together. Sometimes we have students who are just willing to help custodians in the CAF clean up after lunches, lift chairs, and help out. So we really like to highlight that, and I think that's something we take a lot of time to recognize, whether it's on Facebook, shout-outs on announcements. We are always looking for opportunities to not just talk about academics, but really focus on their experience and what they bring outside of the classroom as well. Advisory, I think, is one of those other opportunities where the focus of it, again, these students work so hard all day, academics, they're working hard at home, continuing to enhance skills, but advisory during the day gives them a chance to kind of reset and just connect with their peers and also connect with a trusted adult in the building that they will see all year and all 4 years as they stay with that same advisor. And throughout that time, they focus on building community and really developing relationships with some students who they maybe never would have connected with if that advisory didn't exist. So it's really another great spot for kids to be kids and kind of reset, but hone in on some activities together and really celebrate each other and take time to just enjoy that space that they have throughout the day.
So one of the great parts of our schedule is our built-in flex time. This is a time where students can connect with their teachers for reassessment, relearning, for review and preparation for exams. They're great. This is just a built-in time. Students do not need to come after school to get extra help. It's built into the schedule, and it does happen daily, which is wonderful. Students are encouraged to determine their own path and what their needs are, but they do have an advisor who works with them to schedule out flex time in our adaptive scheduler each day. And so there's somebody there guiding and supporting them in their decisions, especially when they need support. So sometimes students know exactly what they need, and other times they need somebody to talk to. And that might be the classroom teacher, but that advisor is there for that. For students who are in a really good place academically, we do have enrichment opportunities, so students could use that flex time to attend, say, we have origami that happens, walking group. Other clubs are allowed to meet during that time, such as Code Runners and Japanese culture. So there are opportunities for students to do other things if they're in a good place and they just want a nice, enriching experience to add to their day.
We started with how proud we are of our community and our students, but we also do offer academics. So Oyster River does have a reputation for strong academics. We have high expectations of our students, and we help support them to meet those expectations. We are unique in that we don't have leveled classes. Our classes are heterogeneous groupings, meaning that all students in their freshman year are all going to take Essentials of English. They will all take biology. And we do that grouped mixing. It's an opportunity for students, again, to come together as a community, embrace diversity within the classroom, learn from one another from their varied backgrounds, and then we offer supports for everyone to meet the expectations. And we'll have a slide in a couple slides from now to talk about some of those supports so that students can find success. So a part of that success, though, does come from how much emphasis we put on student voice and choice. It really does impact student engagement when we let them have a say in what are our offerings. So we do put out surveys each year. Different departments will offer surveys. We rotate through those departments on just what do students want to learn more about? What do they want to deep dive into? So this year we have new courses from our social studies departments in genocide in the modern world. We have criminal law. We have women in American history. And that came because students asked for it, and our teachers built those courses from those surveys. This coming school year, next school year in the fall, we will offer Intro to Biotechnology. That came out of that survey, and we've had other classes as well. And so because students do feel that empowerment and that say, and they know that their voice will be listened to, they are engaged in their classes, is what we have found. We do offer advanced placement courses in a variety of subject areas. We also do have early college opportunities. We have them at the high school, but we also will support students who want to take them at the college campus and virtually. And so our counselors work to help all students individualize their plans based on what their interests and their goals are, not only for their 4 years of high school, but after they leave us. Our students are well prepared, so our graduation rate is very high, and about 80% of our students will go on to continue their education. The other 20% go on to work, and we've started offering a career signing day, so we're celebrating students who have secured jobs and are starting their careers right out of high school because that's what they're prepared for and that's what their interests are in, or they'll go on to military and some are doing gap years. We do have very high SAT scores. We tend to score above the state, typically over 1,100 combined score for those two sections, with a 95% participation rate for those. Oh, CATS program. How did I forget I can't forget the CATS program. We have a unique arrangement with the University of New Hampshire. We are within walking distance of the university campus, and so our students in their junior and senior year can take one free course at the University of New Hampshire. We work with them to fit that into their schedule, so they leave our campus during the school day, head over to UNH for their course. They do have to apply and be accepted into it. Our counselors help work with students, again, for what they're interested in. But it is something that's unique with us being in Durham with the university, that our students can take one free course junior year, one free course senior year, and then if they'd like a second course the second semester, then they do get that for a significantly reduced tuition rate.
We acknowledge the fact that learning doesn't just happen Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock to 8:15 to 3 o'clock. So we have many extended learning opportunities where students have the ability to individualize, personalize, and customize their high school experience through a variety of ways. We have 5 categories of ELOs. We have advanced studies, independent coursework, peer instructors, career exploration, and internships, where students are actually getting on-the-job training, work-based learning, and paid at the same time. So high school credit and cash in the pocket, which is a good deal. We work with students to help expose them to as many opportunities as possible through field trips throughout the year. Students are then able to engage in not only exposing, but also exploring it more in in-depth ways through maybe job shadows or informational interviews. And then also lastly, that experience piece, where students can actually go out and get that real-world experience through their internship process or programs. We also have career technical education. As we heard before, we are part of the region that our students are able to attend technical programs over at Dover, Somersworth, and Rochester. We provide transportation for 3 blocks of the day to and from those centers, where students are earning all the industry-recognized credentials and college courses and skills needed to be successful in their future endeavors. And then a little bit about that too, numbers-wise. As mentioned, we have roughly 800 or so students in the building, and we have roughly right now 150 or so students signed up to be participating in career technical education next year. We also offer or have access to the Virtual Learning Academy, a charter school, which provides not only are we having students design courses for the school, but maybe we don't have enough to run sections of those courses that are being designed. So VLAX also offers courses that we can access and have students gain experience in. Always working together to engage every learner is our district motto, our district theme, and district mission, and we do that on a daily basis. And also something to highlight too is that not only do we encourage, but we also celebrate our students too. A part of every staff meeting every month, we have about 50 minutes of stuff from administration, and then we have the last 10 minutes dedicated to a student to present or a group of students to present what they've done to enhance their experience of the things that they've learned from our school to go out into the community. So last year's theme was Discover the Possibilities. So we had students presenting upon how they discovered the possibilities over the school year. This year it's Empowering Positive Pathways. So again, how have they brought that mission or the theme of the year to life in our school? Aside, if you don't tell administration this, many a times our staff would rather hear 50 minutes of student presentations rather than 50 minutes of their presentation and provide only them 10 minutes to speak about stuff. So, anywho. Awesome.
I don't know who invited me. Student supports. So we work with the multi-tiered systems of support, and that means we have universal supports that are available to all students in the building, regardless of any special needs. These are available to all, and we do see them accessing these. And so that is a range that includes our advisory program, the flex offerings. Every student has the same counselor for their 4 years with us. We have Homework Den available 3 days a week after school for students to go and just have time in the library to get homework done, and there is a tutor who is in there if they do need support. We have peer tutoring also through our National Honor Society students, but we are developing a peer tutoring program for students who excel in certain subject areas and maybe they're not in National Honor Society. We also have the Writing Center, which is staffed all day long, and that's for students to go and get help with any writing assignment, from essays, college essays, but also science lab reports, any assignment that they might need writing support on. We have the Math Lab that is also staffed all day long for any student to pop into, either during a free period or flex time, or even from their math class. Sometimes the teacher, after they've gone through instruction, then the teacher wants them to have some additional support with us, or the student wants additional support, they can pop over to that Math Lab. And then there are some students who just need a little bit more. And our team, the Tier 2 and then Tier 3, that's the multi-tiered systems. Tier 2 is small group. These are all short-term interventions. So we have a team that looks at just student data and how students are doing academically and socially, emotionally. We hear reports from teachers, we look at their academics, and then we also just hear from students too. How many nurse visits, how many counseling visits, and then we try to provide short-term interventions for students, and that might be a stress management group, it might be an executive functioning skills group, it might be Planners Club that we have on Friday afternoons. That's one of those universal, but also then recommended, where somebody might not self-select to go, and we encourage them to give that a try. And then the Tier 3 is more one-on-one support for students. And again, our team is monitoring students for that. Our Student Senate, I'm coming back to the all students, our Student Senate is very passionate about mental health, especially in the 2 years that I've been at the school. So they have started mental health panels, community panels, and bringing in outside resources to come on in. And then they had a whole entire mental health week where they just want to promote healthy habits, and each day focused on different things. And so our hallways right now are covered with inspirational posters and things that students came up with to just encourage one another and come together as a group. We do have the Youth Connect program where students are did that training that Dover had talked about as well. And so they go in and do class presentations and activities through advisory throughout the school year. So that's one way that that our group is using the advisory model for all students to get those activities. We have a LADAC, which is a licensed alcohol and drug counselor. She is available to all students. Anyone can pop in and see her, even if they just want information. But she also provides education. So it's not just responsive services. She's also trying to be proactive in our community. And so on various opportunities, then she will offer she'll come to a community event or offer a community event or speak at a class meeting. And then our school board, our community, has been very supportive as well and are adding an additional mental health counselor, behavioral health counselor for next school year. And that will be another universal support, but also utilized in the Tier 2-3 model.
And so if you have a student coming and they have an IEP and are in need of special ed services, we have a very strong special ed team. So we have one way of going about it, which is study skills. It's a credit-bearing class, and you come out, it's multiple times a week for 80 minutes a week. You receive your direct instruction during that time, and during the rest of the time, that's when you're able to get additional academic support, either from the special ed teacher or a paraprofessional that is in the room. We have 2 additional programming within that. We have our life skills program, and for next year, we're going to be having more of a post-grad program for our students who are staying beyond 18 up to the age of 22. Our life skills program works on they're out in the community, they're learning daily type of events and things that they need to do. They could be learning about doing laundry and self-care and financial management. And then as they start to advance into the higher part, that's when it's really about getting them ready for being as independent and transitioning into adulthood. We are very privileged to have a transition coordinator. She works closely with Voc Rehab in a lot of the agencies in the area. She has some great connections with different companies within Durham, and so they're volunteering at the library. They're a part of Friends in Action. They're working over at Goodwill, and most recently they're going to be starting a partnership with CVS. And Walgreens, so they're going to be working a couple times a week with support in these environments. If driven through your IEP, you could possibly have in-class support. Sometimes it is individual one-on-one support. Sometimes it is a group support. Goal is always, as they transition and they're working their way through high school, is to be able to slowly pull back as much support as you can for them to be independent. And we have great inclusive programs. We have a Best Buddies program. We have Unified Sports, which I will agree with Dover. It's like some of the best events ever. People are just so excited to be part of those unified games. And this upcoming year, we'll be adding a unified PE class. And so it's great. The kids are really excited about it, and I've heard a lot of feedback from our students, our traditional students, who are really trying to be part of the course.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here tonight to talk a little bit about our athletic programs. As you can see by the slide, we offer a lot of athletic opportunities for our students. We have pretty much everything that is sanctioned by the NHIAA, including a unified sport option that Nancy mentioned. Each season we have unified soccer in the fall, unified basketball in the winter, and unified volleyball going on this spring. We do actually compete with Dover in those sports. Unified sports at Oyster River are really popular. The kids really take to those programs, and they really are unbelievable and a great thing to watch. I would agree with everything that was said there. Over the past few years, we've added programs. We've added a football program and a spirit program. Both of those are cooperative agreements with Portsmouth High School. All of our teams compete in Division II, with the exception of football, spirit, and girls hockey are Division I. The NHIA classifies sports based on school size. In instances of cooperative teams, they're combined school sizes, so that places us in Division I with those cooperative sports. But all of our other teams are Division II, and right now we're currently the largest Division II school in terms of enrollment size. We have close to 70% of our population participates in at least one sport. So we're always looking to create and add new opportunities should there be a demand for it. An example of this was this fall. We had 80 kids come out for our boys soccer program. And instead of cutting 20 kids, we added another team. So we were able to schedule get a schedule for a second reserve team. So we had 4 boys soccer teams. It was a lot to manage, but given the alternative, it was the best thing to do for the kids. You know, our philosophy is to keep as many kids as we can involved and active in sport. And if the interest is there, we'll create opportunities for them to be able to participate in. Our team levels that we have, we try to have an option for everyone, from the kid that's going on to play a college sport, the high-level varsity athlete, to the kid that's just trying a sport for the first time. We try to have opportunities for all of those kids. Our goal is to make programs available to all kids and all abilities. Our community really views, we have we have varsity, JV, and reserve sports. Those are the 3 levels that we have. Our community really views athletics as a critical part of the overall education of a student. Our student athletes are really fortunate to get to play in some really great facilities. I think we might be the only school, if not one of the only schools, that has 2 turf fields. We have an 8-lane track. Our hockey teams play all their home games at the Whittemore Center, which is a pretty cool thing for them to get a chance to do. Our swim and indoor track teams also use UNH's facilities. So our kids are really fortunate in that they have those quality, high-level facilities to get to use. While winning and losing is not the most important thing in sports, we all know that, but I think I would be doing our teams an injustice if I didn't mention how the successes that they've had. Over the last 10 years, our teams have won a combined 27 state championships and have been runners-up 28 times. We all know how hard it is to win a state championship, so I think that speaks volumes to the dedication of our athletes, the quality of our coaching staff, and just the support that we get in our community for athletics at Oyster River. With all of that said, I would encourage you, we've worked really hard on our website, our athletic website, to kind of answer any questions that someone would have about our program. So I would encourage you to take a look at that if you do have any questions.
All done. So, at Oyster River, we offer a wide variety of clubs and organizations. All of these activities are based on student interest. So they've been developed by students and backed by a staff member at our school to make sure that these things happen. I did have a list of activities, clubs that are going on currently. But we have many, many more, well over 30 that are active. Some run each year, some don't. So there's a lot of activities just depending on the student interest. If any student has a club that they are interested in and it doesn't exist, just like a lot of other schools, they just, they find an advisor and they bring it to administration with a plan, and there you go, you got your club. And just recently, a group of students formed a drama club, and it's right at the end of the school year, but they're hoping that it'll really take off next year because drama is a big part of our school. So we didn't have one, which was unusual, but we have a very strong theater program. So that's a great addition. Some of our organizations involve a commitment to the group, and they engage in competitions, such as our dance team, robotics, debate club, and math team. Those are organizations that they do engage in activities around the state and within the region. Other clubs, such as the art club, code runners, and game club, are formed for just the enjoyment of the activity in mind, with no specific commitment. And we just have a lot of kids engaged. And overall, at Oyster River, we strive to connect all of our students with an activity outside of the classroom that enriches their overall school experience. We know how valuable it is for kids to be connected to something at the school, and sometimes it's hard, but we do everything we can to get everybody connected in one way or the other.
Our last slide was very pretty, but maybe you'll see it in a moment. Really, I think the biggest message that we wanted to bring tonight is we care about the whole student. Okay. I'm going to keep talking. Okay. Is that we care about the whole student. And so I think about our opportunities. And so since I've been there, we come up with a theme every single year. I know Sean mentioned those. But one of the first things we do in the summer is we sit down as a team, we talk about what that year was like and look forward to the year ahead. And so just as an example of student voice and kind of incorporating that into what we talk about in the summer, I go to a sociology class. I'm invited to a sociology class every year. And she does a big project with kids where she has them work on something that they think would be better in the school. And one of the things that came out of that my first year was a leadership committee. And what that means, it's a leadership advisory committee. Any student in the building, we do it about twice a quarter, calendar. We'll put the date out there. They can come during flex time, and one of the administrators will be there. Usually it's me, but sometimes if I can't go, another administrator steps in. And it's just time to sit and listen to students. What is going well in the school? What are the issues that you're seeing? And it gives them an opportunity to have voice directly with us, because coming to the main office can be scary. Sitting in the principal's office can be scary. We want to make ourselves available to them. So it's not just by surveys of students. It's not just something that we say. We want to give kids opportunities to hear what it is that can make their school better. And so we look for those. So in those themes, as Sean also mentioned, what we incorporated last year was students coming and giving presentations at the faculty meetings, which has become the favorite thing. But it really does show not only opportunities within the school, but then where they take those. It could be an ELO at UNH where we had a student working in labs. And then she did another ELO where she got to go out and collect evidence and come back in the labs. It's so just many different things that pique their interest, that take them further, that what 8 to 3 o'clock in the building can do. And so we do have that 97% graduation rate. Our SAT scores are very high above the state. And those are very important things, but it's the individual student and really creating something that they care about and they can take with them after high school. That's our real job. And that's what we care about and we really work to do by listening to them and by listening to our school community. So coming into the school, learning what being a Bobcat really means. I am very proud to be a Bobcat, and I love the fact that I can do things for kids that make them being proud of being a Bobcat. So part of that is being able to be with you tonight. So we want to thank you for the opportunity to talk about Oyster River and how proud we are of it and of our kids. So thank you very much.
So thank you all for your presentations. As you may have noticed, we experienced some technical difficulties. If you're comfortable doing so, would you mind sharing your slide decks with Deanna so we can post them so that folks can have the opportunity to see all of your beautiful things? Okay.
Just here.
Okay, so apparently just you folks in person, if you watch the video, if you'd like to experience this again, you'll get to see all of the beautiful slides. So sorry, we're usually better at this. So we're going to open it up to questions. We always start with folks in person. If you have a question, we're going to ask you to come up, speak to that microphone that hopefully will be turned on. And we just like you to state your name and then ask your question, and we'll do our best or have them do their best to answer it, okay? Anyone? Come on down.
It's been weighing on
No, this microphone, please.
Oh, my God, sorry.
That's all right.
That's okay.
I don't know if you, can everybody hear me? I can just talk really loud, too.
There's a...
How about this? Oh, gosh.
Ooh, there you
Okay,
go.
so my name's Donna. And my question is, with all the development going on, oh, I loved your presentations, by the way, so thank you. With all the development going on in all the different communities, what is the guarantee that my son or any of our students will start and end at the same school? Like, my fear is that even if there's like a 5 or 10 year contract, say my son picks Dover, and I'm only saying that because that's where his dad went, and then they're like, ooh, Dover got all these new students and we need room for our own students, and now my son or other students from our community are out. And like, it would really suck if my son's in his senior year and he has all this rapport with the teachers and other students, and then now he has to find a new school because there's no room. Does that make sense? Is that a stupid question? I don't want to ask a stupid question.
Am I on? Are you asking if their enrollment gets too large and so they say, no, thank you, Barrington, we don't have room for you?
Yeah, it's like in like the middle of the school year, like even, like I know like breach of contract, but fire codes and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want our students to get kicked out.
So that's part of why we have agreements, because that protects us. But also, and please correct me if something has changed, they're all experiencing declining enrollment to a degree, and we're not. So I don't have that fear. I don't think any of you do in the near future.
Then I will not have that fear anymore. Then.
No, please do not.
Thank you.
I'm really short. I'm Chrissy Pelletier. My question is regarding the survey. I know tonight we can sign up and you can email, but what about sending it out, like similar to what you sent out for the information tonight, or maybe posting it out in the community, because it's not just the families, like it's the whole community it impacts. So I don't know if that's a possibility to do as well, so we get more people.
Sure, we talked briefly at our last meeting about a survey, so we can certainly explore a wider option because we want to hear from as many folks as possible. Absolutely.
Anyone else? Okay.
Oh, no, there's somebody coming now.
No worries.
Hi, I'm Jen Nickerson. I might have missed it. I got here a little late. How does like the choosing process work? And it's not necessarily, maybe it is directed at them, but like when they're in 8th grade, like do they get to pick, or do they have to test into Co-Brown? Or?
So is there still an application process at Co-Brown?
Registration?
No, an application process. Okay, so they can choose any school, and there's a very set process for them to be able to explore all three. There are open houses, there are visitations, so that...
Student shadowing.
When I say visitation, they shadow a student at the school. So the district does not take any position on that. The family and the student choose which school they want to go to.
Okay, I'm just remembering when I was in school, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now, because we have and I'm not, well, we will hopefully, because we have to go to the community for voting, but we'll have contracts with schools, and so students will be guaranteed to be able to attend there.
Okay, thank you.
I will say the one caveat is Oyster River has a very set cap on how many students we can send, and we have a lottery process. It's always my least favorite night of the year. But to my knowledge, I don't think we've ever had it where a student desperately wanted to go to Oyster River and weren't able to.
We've never turned away.
We've never turned, yeah, that's never happened.
So
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Anna Lee.
We picked the 50 as the
It's kind of a two-part question of the information, of the answers that got already asked or told. For the mention of the declining tuition of incoming students for the 3 towns that we can send students to, is there a rough estimate of like what the current capacity rate is at those schools that any of you guys could say? Like for Dover students, what capacity percentage is Dover at? Roughly.
That would be good. Thank you.
Hi, so we currently have 1,350 students. Our capacity is literally 1,800 students or more, because the educational model has really changed, right? We're a one-to-one school, so your ability to utilize, like we have classrooms, but then we have learning commons. We literally could put, a couple thousand students.
500 kids in there in theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we wouldn't do that kind of thing. And the model has changed a lot too. Like Sean talked about, you have kids who are out of the building. I mean, there's just, it's so different than when we went to school and you went in these 5 classrooms and there was, how many chairs are there? So our capacity for students is, and you look at the enrollment cohorts in our school, we're going to be able to take tuition students.
Thank you. And then part 2, for the mention of Oyster River, they have a cap. Is that into the contract, that cap? That gets, so that number will, I'm assuming, get renegotiated this next time around. Okay. What is it currently? Do you share that?
Is it
50 per year.
It's about 50 per year. It was a very gradual process, so they didn't want, so each year we were able to send more, and so it's per grade level. So, but that would be part of the negotiation process.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hi. I missed the first few minutes, so this might have been discussed earlier in the meeting, but I'm looking for some transparency from the town to determine if they are actually looking to reduce the number of school options that our students have
to go to going forward? And if that is the case, what that means for students that are starting out in one of these schools next year, and whether or not that means they may or may not be able to continue.
So there have been no discussions at the board level at all about reducing the number of options our students have. I know that rumor is running amok in town, but that is not part of this. We just have to revisit this because our contracts are up. And so just like we did before, we're going to the community, exploring all their options. The community at large will decide. And when we have contracts up, the community at large will vote on those contracts. But there is no plan to reduce the number of options.
Hi, my name is Ashley Amenti, and with that said, I just wanted to ask the question. This is more, there's not really a mechanism for people to answer this, I don't think, but I wanted to know from people who have kids in high school right now, if they feel like sending kids to 3 different high schools has kind of diminished the Barrington community aspect of the high school students not staying together, because I went to Barrington schools. I finished Barrington and went to Dover High School, and we had about maybe 85 to 90 kids from my high school class all go to Dover High School together. There were a few who went to Co-Brown, not many. A few who went to private schools, not many. But most of us did go on together. Still, we had mostly Dover students in my classes. And I didn't know how that is, you know, when there's a much smaller group of Barrington students in your classes and you are divided from many of your classmates and friends and peers at that point in 8th grade instead of in 12th grade. And I didn't know if there was any mechanism to get any kind of feedback from older, because my kids are only in kindergarten, 1st grade, and I have a 2-year-old. But we are within that 10-year window where I will have 2 high schoolers and a middle schooler in 11 years from now. So it does seem relevant, and that is on my mind if we are spreading ourselves a bit thin. Although I have to say I was absolutely blown away by all 3 school presentations. And as someone who went to Dover High and was also accepted to Co-Brown, so did do some research on Co-Brown as well back in the 8th grade many years ago, I'm blown away by all 3 schools and all the programs you offer now that were not offered back many years ago. It's very impressive, and all of our students would be lucky to go to any one of the 3 schools. So none of this has anything to diminish any of the wonderful presentations that you all made. They were extremely impressive, so I don't want to think, like, I have no school that I would vote to not send students to. That's not a question at all. It's just a more general question / statement that I'm wondering if that is happening at the moment with 3 high schools that we're sending to. Thank you.
I'd like to apologize for being late, and it was because I was actually watching, I was actually at one of our receiving high schools play another one of our receiving high schools. And the outcome of that game has very little to do with the conversation, but what was interesting was the young lady that pitched for the Oyster River team pitched against a young lady from Stratford, New Hampshire for the other team, and after the game, they hugged each other after a very emotional, well-fought battle. It's neat because the kids here in town, they grow up together, and yes, for sure, 8th grade comes and they say goodbye to some of their best friends that they've made, both here at the school and also at our youth association fields up on Smoke Street. And to see that happen is kind of heartbreaking for a matter of months. But I can tell you that my kids, I've got a senior in high school and a freshman, they stay friends with those kids. You know, you grow up in Barrington, you're always from Barrington. And that said, they go on to a different community, whether it be in Northwood or in Dover or in Durham. And they thrive. They meet new friends. Their horizons get bigger. And years ago, we talked about building a high school here in Barrington. It was supposed to be right over there. We socked money away for it, thought about it for years and years, and the community kind of said after a while, we have 3 of the best high schools in the state of New Hampshire right at our back door. Why not give kids and parents the opportunity to choose what is best for them? Not every kid is the same. We know that from the moment they reach our ECLC here in Barrington all the way through the 8th grade. And it's interesting watching these kids hit 8th grade and look at their high school perspectives. almost like it's college. You know, what is going to work for me? What do I want to go in life? What's interesting to me? And these three high schools are quite different. The one thing they have in common is they're both exceptional. And so we're very lucky here in Barrington. It's not a unique model, but I don't think anyone in the state does it better. So.
And I'll speak as the other board member that has a current high school student. Well, first let me just say, I'm sure if she ever found out and watched this video later, I'm sure she'd be thrilled that I'm discussing her experience on behalf of her. So there's that. So hi, Maeve. So my daughter is a sophomore at Oyster River. And when I first moved to town, I was not familiar with the option of high school choice, so I was very confused by it. And then when I went to one of the many 8th grade nights that they have for families that you guys will all at some point experience or maybe have experienced with some older children, I was so relieved that there were so many options for my daughter, for my other daughters as well, for what will work best for them and their experience. And so I want to say that every child's experience is unique. I think that we all know that, but there's going to be some kids that maybe are really looking forward to and being infused with a new community in a school community, right? And so that wasn't necessarily my daughter's experience. She was very sad to say goodbye to a lot of her classmates, but not to age myself, but when I was in high school, I was not, I didn't have a cell phone yet. And so I think that there wasn't social media and there wasn't that ability to connect digitally. So because of that, I've seen my daughter really stay very, very close friends with students that that she went to school with from K to 8, but don't go to Oyster River. And they maintain those friendships while at the same time being exposed to, first of all, the option of choosing. Like, talking about college preparation isn't scary for us because I toured the 3 schools. We had those conversations. We looked at the stats already, and she had to make that decision as a family together with us. So we feel really prepared for that. I mean, I say all of that without having filled out a college application process yet, so bear with me there. But the mindset of change has already happened and been discussed with them, and they're part of that conversation, which was great. But she still has those strong relationships, but I think it's important that we as a community continue to foster that, which is why it's great to have schools come in. We have these conversations. We have group organizations that connect us all together. And so it's not just because you don't go to the same school as your childhood best friend. I promise you that isn't the last time you'll ever see them, because Barrington's such a strong community built on togetherness, and I think that we'll continue that in the future, of course.
And I just want to add that we do a senior walk too. So if you ever see at Barrington Elementary School and here at the middle school, Oyster River, Co-Brown, and Dover students come in with their green and white, blue and white, and red and white caps and gowns, and they take that 8th grade picture again, and the multicolored robes is just wonderful because every one of those robes has a story, and what you just did the past 4 years while remembering what you individually, while remembering what you did together from 8th grade down. So it does wrap around, and I have had conversations with folks because I see this walk, and I freak out about how fast my kids are growing up, and what am I going to do in 2 years when my daughter parts ways? And everyone has told me they do, but they don't. So they stay together. So just not to belabor it longer, but they stay together. They go away, they stay together, but they come back together.
Roots and wings, right? Roots and wings.
Well, and I'll also add that at many school board meetings, we have high school representatives, and we have a representative from each high school that come and report out. And what the consistent message, and I've been on the board a long time, the consistent message from those. The consistent message from all of them has been about how welcoming all the communities are, and how it's seamlessly they feel like they are just part of the greater community. I think that's an asset that all of the schools offer. So even if they're not going with 85% of their graduating class, they immediately feel a part of the new class that they're a part of. And as a parent of older students, I can tell you that my sons still have friends that they didn't go to high school with, but they were friends with from elementary and middle school. So they're able to connect, and that's even before every kid had a cell phone. Because I'm old, as Garth just pointed out.
I did not.
Oh, you can talk about like family choice, it's also student choice. If you're old and go to Oyster River, it doesn't mean your whole family goes to Oyster River. You have to choose per child. So it makes that individual choice the family or for the student too. So I think it was parents know the best for your individual students, individuals have a voice in the say that voice too.
Actually, I had a friend that had one at each school.
Good evening, my name is Rachel, and I just wanted to thank all of you for your presentations and your time tonight. I know, busy time of year, everybody said that, but I really do appreciate it. My question has more to do with the finances. There was a quick slide about the tuition rates for all 3 schools, and I'm just wondering how that piece of it works with the contracts. I know that we're trying to get every student a place, and I know that Oyster River has a cap, but are there supplemental costs? Is there a piece that Barrington covers and then the rest is up to the family to cover? I'm just looking for more information on that.
There's no cost to families.
We use the phrase tuition, the word tuition to mean what is ultimately the taxpayer portion of it, but it's not an individual family, so you're not receiving a bill that you would get at college or university and stuff like
Talk about
that.
the rumor mill. I've heard
Yes.
stuff how
Well,
Barrington
'cause
pays for part
historically-
and
Used to
then
be.
other part pays, is paid by family.
If you want to chip in,
There was a time period where students that went to Dover High School, there was no additional cost. There was called a Delta for students who went to Co-Brown or Oyster River. That does not exist anymore.
Okay. All right, so it doesn't matter where you
No,
go,
they're-
everything's covered. Thank you very much. I appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Anybody else in person? Nope. Dizzy when he does that.
Hi, my name is Robert Churchill. Thanks for your time tonight. I guess I have one question that was asked before, but I don't know if there's a clear answer. So if your student starts at one of the schools, they will finish at that school, correct? Okay, my next question is for the board is I know the contract expires now or next year, I think. What are you as a board looking for out of contracts with each of the schools? Are you looking for a year-by-year basis, or are we looking for more of a long-term, like another 10-year contract that will lock us in? And is each school prepared to, go with the longer-term contracts, which would be better for Barrington as a whole?
A lot of great questions. Did you want us to respond or?
Either way.
Go ahead, Dan.
So I will start with, we've had preliminary conversation with Oyster River folks because they had an outgoing superintendent and board members, and we felt like let's poke a little bit and see, where that interest is. And again, the voters, the taxpayers have to make the final decision, but they have expressed interest in a long-term contract. But those are things that, in all fairness, we have to negotiate when we do that. So it's.
We understand that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But
I think to summarize, the status quo, I think is what, I don't want to speak for each individual board member, but I don't see any radical changes from our side of the table.
Hello, Andrew Peterson. So we're talking about renegotiating the contracts, and I went to Co-Brown, great school. I moved to Barrington, so my kids had the school choice. And are we considering possibly adding any other schools on in addition to these 3 schools? I mean, they're all wonderful schools, but there are other schools in the area, maybe even some that are farther away that the parents can transport their kids to themselves, or once kids are driving age, they can go. So is that at all in consideration?
We hadn't discussed that, no. Anybody else? Okay. I don't see any hands up online. Of course, I should put my glasses on, then I might.
So this would be the time that for those that are joining virtually, if they are interested in asking a question to the group here, you can use the raise my hand feature, and then Moira will call on each person just so that we can unmute you, and then you can go ahead and ask your question.
don't see anybody. All right, well, we scrolled through a few times with no hands, so I think we're all set. So any parting words?
Parting words would be if you would want to receive the survey directly and you don't have current children, because I won't be able to get you otherwise, make sure you put your information on the sign-in sheet there. If you want quick feedback tonight, there's Post-it notes and then also a written form on the back table. But other than that, thank you all for coming out.
Thank you all three schools for coming out and putting on great presentations.
Absolutely. So the Post-it notes on the right are about the school choice options. So if you want to have them remain, you would want to put a dot in each of the 3 columns or whatever your decision is. On the left-hand side is transportation. The same 2 questions are on the form in the back. So just grab a little sticky dot, they're on the table, put your quick response, and hopefully it's not pouring rain on you when you hop in your car.
Okay, sorry, there is one person. Erin Davis.
We can give our feedback.
Oh, here you go. Sorry, can you ask your question again? Erin, could you repeat your question?
Oh, she's still on mute. Erin?
I'm trying. Okay. For those of us that have been watching online, how can we provide feedback?
If you would like to send the superintendent your email, if you're not a parent of a student, because we have that. But if you are not a parent of a student and you want to participate in the survey, contact the Superintendent Ray and give her your email address, and you'll receive the survey to be able to give your feedback.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, going once. All right, so thank you again for all coming. Thank you for all 3 schools for presenting. You all did a great job. Glad I don't have to make the decision ever again. And thank you all for coming and participating. Feel free to participate now, wait for the survey. Tell your friends about the presentation will be posted, and then they'll be able to participate in the survey as well for a short window of time. Again, thank you.
And it will be discussed at the next school board meeting as well. The results will be reviewed. So if you would prefer to come and do public comment then, with a less large crowd, you definitely can.
I'm going to do it, that one or the June one, so we can, if we wait till June, we can tabulate some survey results.
Okay, then we won't discuss it at the May 21st school board meeting. We will discuss it at the June 4th school board meeting.
Yeah, and we have more information.
We'll have information from the surveys to be able to discuss. All right?
Excellent.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Bueno.
Starving.
Spot on time-wise, at least.